Today I'm going to talk with Dave Sittler and Austin Chadwick on the Sports Animal, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today, I had a great conversation with Dave Sittler and Austin Chadwick, but because I've had memory card problems, that video is lost to the universe. So I've laid over the top of it a Fight Me card. I hope that suffices for this video where you can still hear me geeking out with those two guys, and I think it's still valuable and insightful and funny commentary. So allow me the mulligan on this one, and I will see you tomorrow.
Welcome back to the Sports Mix, along with Austin Chadwick. I'm Dave Sittler. Going to welcome in now, as we do every Tuesday and Thursday, RJ Young, our OU Insider at OUinsider.com. You can find his work, or you can find him all over Twitter and YouTube, too. And RJ, first of all, before we get into OU sports, what were your thoughts about the playoff game last night? Do you think the Raptors flew?
Allow me with the Alexa, play RJ Young. No, look, look.
Yeah, there you go.
I thought that was the best opportunity Toronto had to win a game in this series. That was it. They had it.
Yeah.
You got not just a big game out of Kyle Lowry. I thought Kyle Lowry forgot who he was for a little while and started playing like the Kyle Lowry that we all expect him to be, and he's never been in the playoffs. And then it was like, nah, we're still the Bucks. We're still gonna come back from 17 down, and we're still gonna hand you this L at home. If you can't beat him when you got him against the ropes like that, are you gonna beat him at all?
Yeah, you wasted. I mean, when Kyle Lowry gives you that kind of production, dude, that's like, I mean, come on. Because every other game, it's had to have been the Kyrie or the Kawhi show. And overall, before we get into OU, your thoughts on the NBA playoffs in general? You know, they didn't win. The Raptors didn't. So the Bucks, by the way, they're 9-1 in the playoffs, and I don't know.
We can't count the Detroit series. We can't count it.
Well, yeah, I guess you can, but they're still 5-1 outside of that.
Okay.
And they dismantled a team that could have been good, but they just never gave never gave Boston a chance to even get any kind of footing after that game one. I guess the question is, without a LeBron in the playoffs and without crazy Russell Westbrook deep in the playoffs. And it looks like Golden State's reverting back to 15 and 16, which, oh, by the way, I think they were pretty good back then with the Splash Brothers. Are we missing some of the pizzazz, if you will, in the playoffs? And are we going to see a little bit of a ratings dip with the conference finals?
No. But last I heard that this was still a wildly entertaining playoffs. And two, nobody expected the Lakers to be in the Western Conference Finals. You kidding me? Look, we all would have bet on Houston. We all would have bet on Golden State. None of us would have bet on Portland. Right? And I think that's wildly entertaining because, yeah, you got the Splash Brothers from 15-16, but first of all, you had Steph Curry become Splash God, not Splash King, Splash God. Just I'm gonna bust you back to back with these 3-pointers, and you're gonna like it. I'm gonna take these tough shots, I'm gonna hit them, you're gonna like it. And then you got Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum doing Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum things, and we just don't get to see it because we live on Central Time, they play on West Coast Time, and we're not really that into the Blazers, except now I really want that series to be competitive, and I honestly believe it has the best opportunity to be competitive of the two that we have left. And I think that is interesting of anything else. But overall, look, I don't expect a ratings dip. If anything, I expect the summer to be wildly more entertaining because who had the Pelicans getting the number 1 overall pick in the lottery? This is exactly not what you wanted to happen to the NBA, and that's why guys like us are having such a good time because this league is wildly unpredictable. Whereas in college football, you can pretty much pencil in Alabama and Clemson in the college football playoff semifinal now, and it's kind of getting on my nerves.
Talking with RJ Young, OU Insider, OUinsider.com. You can find some of his content there. Also follow him on YouTube and Twitter, just the content machine that he is. You put up a video yesterday about just OU's depth and overall talent that they have at the outside receiver position. CeeDee Lamb he's transforming his body. He is a freak show, and the Bridges kid as well. Talk a little bit about that because it's almost like the minute you think Lincoln Riley, how can he be more efficient offensively? How can they be any better offensively? he's just adding pieces to it, and they're not slowing down.
Right, and you got so much depth that you're probably going to have a transfer portal problem because that's just the way it's going. You got CeeDee Lamb at the X, right? You probably got Charleston Rambo at the Z. I'm talking about outside receivers in this video. But you also have Jadon Haselwood and Theo Wease, who are #1 wide receivers, depending on who you're talking to on that day. And you got Trejan Bridges, who can literally play all 3 positions, but looks best at outside receiver. And there's only one football, and you can only play 2 wide receivers on the outside at a time. So, yeah, I thought it's really interesting in that you got basically what you might count as 4 5-star wide receivers, if that's how you want to see CeeDee Lamb and the way he's playing now, because he's the best offensive weapon on this offensively loaded football team. But that's what it is. It's an embarrassment of riches. And what happens in an embarrassment of riches in the time of the transfer portal? 7 months in, we would say those dudes go elsewhere. So I'm going to be interested to see how much of Lincoln Riley talking to these kids in the locker room, at practice, keeps them engaged, not just through their first year, but through the first 2-3 years of what turns out to be, I hope, a really great wide receiver class. But in this age of, I want mine now, and I can get mine now, how many of these guys want to stay together if they're not getting the ball after the first or second season?
Talk with RJ Young, OU Insider, OUinsider.com. RJ, going away from football for a minute, but staying down in Norman. I think next to Lincoln Riley, the best coach down at OU is Patty Gasso. They're opening tomorrow at hosting a regional in softball. Just any of your thoughts on what Patty Gasso has done down there?
First of all, Patty Gasso is the best coach in Norman. She's the best coach in the state, period. Full stop. The only person that can argue with her about that might be KJ Kindler in the women's gymnastics program or Mark Williams at the men's gymnastics program, because all they do is get national championship rings. Matter of fact, Mark Williams is kind of one of my favorite coaches on campus today. So I got to interview him at one point, and he had on a big ring on his non-wedding ring finger, and it looked smashed to bits. And I was like, yo, man, you really going to smash up a national championship ring like that? He says, no, this is second place. So I knock it on the wood every time I can because I got it like that. He didn't say I got it like that. That's mine. But that's what you got down in Norman. And then you look at what Patty's done, and she has an opportunity to break the all-time win streak, period, in NCAA softball. Just when you think that this woman hasn't done everything, there's still something else within her reach that she can get. And how cool is it to have the Women's College World Series down the road from Norman every single year? And you're looking at a squad that every time I don't think they could get any better, where they look like this might be the year they fall off. No. Yeah. Patty Gasso proves to everybody, nah, see that $1 million raise that I got where I became the first $1 million head coach in softball history? This is why. Because I'm the most dominant head coach on campus today, and that's saying a lot.
Well, okay, on the flip side of that is Sherry Cole. What has happened to Sherry Cole? Is it just all recruiting?
You know, Jackie Stiles looks really good as an assistant there. And
she does.
Just gonna say, Sherry, you put together a couple more 8-win seasons. We might want to tell you to watch your back because you make $1 million too.
Overall, obviously the state of the entire athletic department in Norman has been just fantastic. Josie has just done a phenomenal job over the last, couple of decades, really. And so when you look at this, though, there's always kind of a little bit of unrest. Bob Stoops always talked about having Boren and Josie and him, the three of them, for so many years, and that consistency really helps and stability. But overall, I think with the change of Lincoln Riley, that he's a smart enough guy, and he knows what kind of value he has in Castiglione. And it just almost seems like this is all just seamless. It's crazy to think, but when anybody replaces a coach, it gets in turmoil. Who are they hiring? Who this? Who that? All that stuff that people other programs have to deal with. You look at OU from the minute Bob Stoops said, "I'm done, I'm retiring," to now, it's like seamless. It's like, okay, here's your textbook on how to get it done and keep a high level of standards in winning, and also at the same time keep the integrity in what we do and how we do it. And I think Joe C gets a lot of credit for that.
He should, because he's been the only constant since '98. We just saw a president last about as long as Howard Schnellenberger did, okay? And most of us who know from Howard Schnellenberger, me knowing my history, the rest of y'all actually living through that nonsense, you see why it's comparable. So you're looking at the way the rest of the university is operating, and you look at how the athletic department is operating, you're like, why don't we get more of that going both ways? And I think you would rather have it the other way, unless you're a sports fan, and then you're just kind of, into yourself. But what Joe C has been able to do is going to get, he's about to earn his money again, because if you look around at the way that college athletics is going, with the NCAA entertaining, paying players for their likeness and image, with the tax code, redoing how you can do season tickets, with the arms race, in that it feels like the Everest Center at, Oklahoma, which was state of the art back in its day, is kind of antiquated. He's about to earn his money again, and I'm really interested to see if Joe C continues to stick it out. He has, so there's nothing to say that he wouldn't. But if Joe C were not the athletic director at Oklahoma, we could start to wonder really, really quickly how bad a shape this program, any of these programs, any of the athletic programs would be if that man was not heading it up. And I really, really don't want to live through that, but it seems like it's going to get closer rather than not.
You're right. Some of us did live through Snellenberger. In fact, I broke the story when Brian Ailey almost died on his watch, and he put several other players in the hospital. It was a horrible time, and then Joe C comes in right after that. And you're right about that, too. But another thing about OU football that I think Joe C's not real happy about right now, talk with R.J. Young, OU Insider, is Fox coming out and saying, we're going to put our prime games on at 11 o'clock, and OU is one of Fox's prime teams. I would think, R.J., that Joe C's not happy about that, and the Merchants and Norman aren't happy about that. I don't know if you've heard much about it yet.
Then don't sell your broadcasting rights to Fox Sports. I mean, no, that's it. You took the money. That's what the money's for. That's the Mad Men line. I don't like it. I've been saying that for a long time. I know why fans don't like it, especially the folks that get up to go to these games. You're paying money for tickets, and then you got to pay for parking, so forth and so on. But Fox is trying to make a buck, and now that they have all of this money to spend, they want to try to make a run at ESPN. The best way to do that is to put your most viable and valuable teams on TV in what is called a primetime TV slot. Because 11 a.m. for us, right, is noon Mountain Time, is 1 p.m. Pacific Time, is 10 a.m., 9 a.m., or in East Coast time. So, I mean, it's just...
No, you're going the wrong way.
Wrong way.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Numbers, English major.
I get it. You're right. It's all okay. We're on radio, right? It's almost like ESPN calling us all one day, and RJ, you'll get that call one day. Hey, we're gonna pay you $1 million. By the way, you're doing the midnight shift. I mean, you really can't complain about it if you're going to take the money. I mean, and that's obviously what the conference has done.
I think I start tonight.
Well, no, but you make a good point here, right? Because now we're talking about what's most important to you. Is it important to you that you get the money to fund your program? Or is it important to you that you try to make the people who are most important to your program happy? And I think that's why Joe C is the athletic director. He has to make that very, very hard decision every day with every move he makes. Whether it be in scheduling Georgia, right, or scheduling Ohio State, or raising ticket prices, or going up to high dollar donors and saying, help us build the South End Zone. I mean, that's the job of an athletic director, and one of the reasons I say that he does probably the best job in the country when you're really thinking about this to make OU continue to be relevant, not just in football, but across the landscape. I mean, let's not forget, 2016 wasn't that long ago. You had a Final Four men's basketball program and a Final Four college football program, and we're talking about still trying to keep what we have, right, as opposed to gaining more of an advantage. So I think, yeah, you're going to have to take the money at some point, but at some point you're also going to be like, no, we're going to fund ourselves. We're going to find a better package. We're going to take a little less money to make everybody happy so that we play on at 2:30, right, or at 7 o'clock rather than 11 a.m. So when the broadcasting rights are up in 2025 or 2023, I forget. But I think you're going to see a lot more of what people call OTT, over-the-top packages, right, where the Prime Videos, the Netflixes, the ESPN Pluses of the world start to make a real run at live college football content, because that's what I would do.
Now, I tell you, sports writers love 11 o'clock games because you don't have a bad deadline. RJ, always bringing it here on OU Insider or OUinsider.com. RJ, Sunday, any idea yet what you're going to do with your show, which is called Fight Me?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about the NBA playoffs as they stand today. We're going to take a look at what has happened. I went through the 7th round of the NFL draft, and I found some real value there if these guys can get a shot. Guys like John Ursua, guys like Mike Weber, guys like Chris Boyd, all fell to the 7th. If they can make a team based on what they did in college football, I think they could be really good.
All right, RJ, thank you very much. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, fellas, I appreciate you.
RJ Young, OU Insider, OU.